everyone, and welcome back to another episode of LA Rams Central. You guys know it's going to be a good hour-long show, so maybe longer, hopefully, and we'll see what we got. We're going to go through the games, and we're going to break them down. So I've got my picks. We're going to get Eric's picks live, and we are going to go from there. So without further ado, Eric, you would pick the New Orleans Saints. So I picked the Atlanta Falcons, so we went I went 1-0. You went 0-1, but that's okay. I forgive you for now. We'll see how this breaks down the rest of the way. Cool? Cool?
Hello?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, barely.
All right. Well, this is the best I got right now, so you have to make do.
Right.
So I got you going 0-1 and me going 1-0 after the Monday night game. So we're going to do the Rams-Eagles game last because there's a lot of things I want to say on that. We'll blow through Baltimore and Pitt and New England, Miami. So let's go ahead and start. Indianapolis at Buffalo. I've done a lot of thinking on this game. Peterson starting. I'm going Colts. I'm going Colts because Indy's played tough all year long. They've been pretty consistent, and I know they're a different team on the road, but do you really trust Peterson?
I don't know who this Peterson guy is that you're talking about, but Peterman is starting.
Whatever. It's not even worth remembering. The fact that you know his name is embarrassing.
Listen, Melvin Benjamin is supposed to be back playing in this game as well, but I don't really see him having much of an impact. Give me the Colts as well in this game.
Oh, wow. We actually agreed on that. All right. I told you last week I'm done picking against...
Excuse me, have you seen what Nathan Peterman has done in his only NFL appearance?
Well, I don't disagree with that. That's why I went with the Colts. I'm just, I figured you'd go with the home team for some reason. I don't know.
Well, the only way Buffalo wins this game, and let's be honest here, is their defense. Their defense will win a game for them, and that's if Buffalo just had a bunch of snow that came down in their area. But I think that storm's going to be moved out by the time this game is played.
Yeah.
But I think that Brissett actually manages the game, doesn't turn the ball over, and gets the win. But the only way the Buffalo Bills win is if they create a ton of turnovers on defense and get points off those turnovers. But I don't see that happening. Not when Peterman's turning the ball over at record pace.
Yeah, just call him Peterson. It's not worth remembering his name. All right. Minnesota.
Yeah. You don't get your last name said right until you actually do something good.
Exactly, right? Until you don't throw 5 picks in a game. So, Minnesota at Carolina. I told you last week I'm done picking against Minnesota. But there's another reason why I'm picking the Vikings. Their defense will frustrate Cam Newton. And when Cam Newton is frustrated, he becomes a crybaby. He goes into his shell, and he completely falls apart. And I foresee that happening. He has no receivers to throw to. His best receiver is going to be covered by the Vikings corner. What's his name? Rudolph the red-nosed reindeer. What's his name?
Xavier Rhodes?
Thank you. That's the one I'm thinking of. I don't know why I thought of Rudolph. Rudolph is the tight end for the Vikings. That's my guy.
There you go.
But, and that's the other thing, too. From what I'm hearing right now, Olsen. I can't talk today. The tight end for the Panthers is out. Is that right?
Greg Olsen?
Yeah.
No, not necessarily. I think it's more of a game time call.
Okay.
But he was actually preparing to play, so I think he'll be out there. They held him out last week because it was on turf, and this week it's on grass, so it's a little bit better for his foot.
Yeah. Well, we'll see. But I'm going Minnesota for 3 simple reasons. I think they can run the ball in Carolina's defense. Case Keenum is accurate, but I think their defense is just going to frustrate Cam Newton and pull out the W. Who do you got?
I got the Vikings in this game. I learned my lesson last week picking the Falcons against them.
Yeah, no kidding, right? All right, I'm going to let you take this one away. This is a flashback to another time. I recall 2 Bear games against the Cincinnati Bengals. I recall a 1989 44-7 drubbing, and I recall a 1986 44-10 drubbing or something like that. I got the Bears at Cincinnati. I'm picking the Bengals. I think they're a better team. I think they're getting stronger with their coordinator. I think they're starting to figure things out with their new OC. There's going to be some turnover, but I just think that if you're going to ask me who, if I'm looking at the quarterbacks, Trubisky versus Dalton, if I'm looking at the running back situation, it's a draw, but I think the edge goes to Cincinnati in the running game. Offensive line versus defensive line, I think that's a good matchup, but I give a slight edge to the Bengals. And A.J. Green is a beast, so I'm going Cincinnati over your Bears.
So you trust Giovanni Bernard over Jordan Howard?
No, I trust the Bengals O-line over the Bears O-line.
Okay. Good save, because Kyle Long was put on the injured reserve ending his season earlier this week. Yeah. So the Bears offense is decimated by injuries. Their defense is decimated by injuries. Let's not overlook the fact that Vontaze Burfict is not playing in this game. Cornerback Jerry Kirkpatrick is not playing in this game. Cincinnati has about 6 defensive guys out for this game. But it's not going to matter, because Drake Kirkpatrick would be wasting his time covering somebody that Trubisky's not going to throw the ball to. Give me the Bengals, and the Bengals taking this game.
Wow. All right. Going Cincinnati in that one. All right. Now, I've been doing a lot of thinking on this, and I'm going to say something that's going to shock you.
Okay? No, you're probably not. I think I know where you're going with this.
Green Bay at Cleveland.
Yeah, I already know where you're going with this.
I think the Browns get.
And I'm going the same place you're going. So
really,
we can ride the crazy train together.
Let's do it, because I think we're going to go off the rails, or we're going to look really, really smart here. Look, my thinking is simple. I think that the Browns have been close all, not all year long, but certainly of late. They've got a receiver now that's a legitimate weapon. I don't trust Hundley. I think the Browns defense, although it lost Jabril Peppers, I think it's getting better, maybe even better by subtraction right now, because Peppers has been kind of hot and cold in the coverage in the secondary. But it's so hard for a team to go 0-16. And I'm looking at this going, this is the Browns' last chance. And it could be the Browns that eliminate the Packers from the postseason, which would be funny. But I think it's going to be a smash mouth, low scoring, tough football game. And I'm going to give the advantage to the Browns. I'm picking Cleveland for 2 simple factors. I think Gordon's going to have a big day, and I think that Browns defense is going to be a little bit more pesky than Packer Nation is thinking or hoping for.
Well, I'm going with the Browns because Deshaun Kaiser can utilize both wide receivers better than Brett Hundley can. And, the Browns, this is second to last home game. Yeah. Or this actually might be the last. I don't think they're going to finish the last 3 games on the road. But let me double check before I say that, because I know they got Chicago coming up in a couple of weeks, but they get they're home right after this against the Ravens. So 2 home, 2 away. I really feel that this is one game the Browns can win. Listen, if you're a Browns fan, January 6th is an important day, because if the Browns go 0-16, one Browns fan got enough money to throw an 0-16 parade for the Browns.
Oh, Jesus.
And I actually sent a message to one of my buddies and asked him if he was going to do it. I haven't heard back. He might be a little ticked at me right now for posting that. But anyways, I like the Browns at home in this game. I know what Green Bay did in Pittsburgh. But you know what? When you actually play against tough competition, sometimes the level of your game rises as well. And I think Green Bay is going into this game saying, okay, you know what? We can win this game. We're looking ahead to the following week when Aaron Rodgers comes back. And I think that's what Green Bay is more solely focused on at this point. And I think it comes back to bite them. And I got the Browns winning this game.
Yeah,
I think Josh Gordon's going to have a huge game.
I just want to remind people, as bad as the Chargers were last year, they were a good football team still, and they should have rolled the Browns in Cleveland and lost. So, I don't think it's that crazy to pick Cleveland, and I know you guys think, like you said, they played well in Pittsburgh, but was that Pittsburgh playing down to competition or the Packers playing up to competition? Because I don't think anybody in their right mind thinks those two teams are even. And let's not forget that the Browns damn near beat the Pittsburgh Steelers in Week 1. So it'll be a fun matchup. Actually, going to watch that game and going to enjoy watching it, if you can believe it. San Francisco at Houston. Going with another upset here. I think Garoppolo is going to be able to utilize his weapons a little bit better than Beathard did, or Beathard. Now I'm doing what you used to do. What Beathard did. I think that Hyde is capable of running against that Texans defense, and I still don't trust Savage. And I've seen enough teams struggle with the 49ers defense, to know that they're not a pushover. And I think these teams are pretty even, and I'm going to give the advantage to the quarterback. And in my opinion, the better quarterback is in San Francisco. I think Garoppolo is going to go 2-0 in starts. Now, I don't think he's going to win next week, but I think he's capable of winning this week for sure against Houston.
Well, for me, it's one thing facing the Bears without any no-name wide receivers, and you can say Dontrell Inman and Kendall Wright all you want, but I want to see the 49ers cover DeAndre Hopkins, and Will Fuller is supposed to be back in this game. So for me, I'm going to go with the Texans. Sorry, Jimmy, your 1 week win and being happy about it is coming to an end with the 49ers. I think they go on the road. I think they lose. I think Savage has been playing a lot better, and I'll take him playing with the reps over Garoppolo, who's played 1 game so far.
Well, I mean it's a fair point. I do think Garoppolo is a better quarterback. I believe that.
In time, yes. Right now, it's hard for me to say yes to that, because A, he couldn't get the 49ers into the end zone against the Bears. And 2, he had to rely on special teams to win that game. He didn't win the game. Special teams won the game.
Well, I mean, look, he got him in range. I mean, it's not like I said, it's not like the 49ers had, a fumble and an interception that put him in field goal range immediately and they got 6 points that way. It's not like they got big returns that put him at the 25-yard line of Chicago. Like you said, he did stall inside the 20, but between the 20s, he was amazing. Or I should say the Niners were amazing in moving the ball pretty efficiently. That's 5 drives that ended with points. I mean, that's hard to do in professional football. So, you're right. You wish some of those were touchdowns, but I think the Niners have something here, and I think the other thing that I like about San Francisco, and this pains me to say it, is their head coach. Kyle Shanahan, I think, is going to be a good coach in time. I think he learned a lot from his blunder in the Super Bowl, and I think he's kind of learned a lot during this stretch. And just look at Jared Goff. I'm a firm believer that when you go through the trials and tribulations early, like Peyton Manning did, like Kyle Shanahan has, like Jared Goff did, I think you're better in year 2 in almost every situation. So, we'll see if that pans out. But they do have their quarterback, and I'm really excited being a Rams fan because the NFC West is going to have 3 of the best quarterbacks in football competing in it, and they're all young. I mean, Russell Wilson's still a pup. Jared Goff is still a pup. Obviously, he's only in his 2nd year, and Garoppolo's a relative pup.
Yeah, Jared Goff's a pup who hasn't been neutered yet.
Yeah, exactly. He's too young to be spayed even at the moment. At least Russell Wilson's been spayed and neutered. Look at his offense. But you're right. I think it's going to be interesting. That's a good analysis right there. Good analysis, Eric. All right, Oakland at Kansas City. I'm going to let you take this one first, and then I'll jump in with it.
Well, we've talked so much about the Chiefs being in a free fall, and Arrowhead's a tough place to play. Just nobody told Buffalo that a few weeks back. If Kansas City can actually utilize Travis Kelce, maybe more than for more than 3 catches in the first quarter, and he's having a big day. Because as soon as I saw last week that he's got 3 catches, 90 yards already, he's going to be well over 100 and then zeros. Kansas City is searching for their identity, and this is not the time of the season to be doing that. Crabtree's back. Cooper, right now 50-50. He's questionable with his hamstring, but it sounds like he's going to play. Give me the Raiders by a field goal.
Raiders. Wow.
Yeah, Raiders.
Since Super Bowl I, 1966, these two teams have not had a season sweep against one another, but for only 8 times. So only 8 times in 52 years has there been a sweep. And one of those sweeps, the Raiders beat them twice in 69, and then the Chiefs beat them in Oakland to go to the Super Bowl. So it wasn't even a clean 3-0 sweep. It was just a 2-0 sweep, and then they got them in the postseason. It's hard to sweep this rival. And I watched the Raider game last week against the Giants, and I just shook my head and thought to myself, they can't get pressure on this quarterback with that offensive line. They can't stop the running game with that offensive line. And I'm thinking to myself, they're going to Kansas City this week. The Chiefs are hungry. They're desperate. The Raiders, I honestly don't know how they win this game if they play like they did a week ago. I'm going Kansas City. I think Hunt's going to have a big game. I think he's finally going to get back out there and showcase a little bit. I think Kelsey's going to have a moderate to effective game. I think you're going to see the Chiefs utilize Tyreek Hill a little bit more. I think the Raiders are in trouble. I don't know where the Raiders are going to get offense right now. I know they put up a 31 points on them last time, and Peters is out, sorry. He suspended this game. But I actually think that's going to motivate the Chiefs and send a message like, Andy Reid ain't playing. And there's too much at stake for Kansas City to slip up defensively like they did a week ago. Now, they may still lose the game. I'm not saying it's foolproof. But I think you're going to see Hunt break out and have a better game than he has had in a while. I think you're going to see Kelsey put up similar numbers that he put up last week, 4 or 5 catches for close to, if not just barely over 100 yards. I think Tyreek Hill's going to have a big day. But I think it's going to be Houston and that defense that's going to make a play or two that happens that turns a tie to that game. I think Houston gets a strip sack and sets up a score for the Chiefs. And I don't know why, but I get a strong feeling that the Chiefs are going to have something happen on special teams. A block punt, a fake field goal, a fake punt, a block field goal, something that's going to turn the tide of the game a little bit. So look for that in this game. When they played last time, Kansas City came really close to blocking 2 punts. And there were a couple of 4th down conversions they went for. But I did notice every time the Chiefs punted in that game against the Raiders would 1-2 and then peel back and go cover to get to their responsibility for the punt return. They at times didn't even look at the up back, let alone get pressure in there. And that shows up on film. And I think the Chiefs might have something for them. So I'm going to go with the Chiefs in a close one, but I'm going Kansas City. So we disagreed on 2 in a row after agreeing on just about all of them but the Monday night game. So Detroit at Tampa Bay. Here's my question. Is Stafford playing?
Yes.
Okay, I got the Lions over the Bucks then.
Yeah, I'm taking Detroit. A lot different going to Green Bay or Baltimore or somewhere in the cold versus going to Tampa in the middle of December. Tampa hasn't done anything. They haven't done anything to show that they're interested in playing football. Detroit's fighting for a wild card spot, so I think the Lions are playing desperate, hungry, and more hungry so than desperate. They know if they just keep winning, they're gonna be a tough out. So these are the Lions in that game.
Yeah, I just think there's something to be said when you go on the road and play a team like Baltimore and play that kind of game, and then the next week you get a team that's a little bit softer, if you will. You do. I remember playing. Actually, I remember coaching too. This happened both when I was coaching a player, but I remember as a running back, we played Mountain View, and there there was just no running lanes. They completely shut us down. And then the next week we played a much weaker team defensively, much like the Buccaneers are. And I remember thinking, oh my gosh, there's holes everywhere. Pick one. And I was running free willy. But, so I think they're going to, not that they run the ball, but I think they're going to see the same thing in the passing game. I think that's going to make a big difference. And you're right, the Buccaneers really haven't done anything, and the Lions are desperate, especially with, looking at the schedule going, well, Green Bay's at Cleveland. We got to win this one because they're going to be probably playing at the same time. So we'll see what happens. Dallas at the New York Football Giants. Eli's back. The Giants are in disarray. I'm picking Dallas. It's the week before Ezekiel Elliott's return. I know that their quarterback has had a hard time with the New York Giants defense over the years, over the last last year, not this year. But the Giants they're a dumpster fire. They're a dumpster fire, and they may win this game, the Giants, but I would be surprised. I think there's going to be too much Cowboy defense, and I think there's going to be maybe too much Alfred Morris. I'm going to pick the Cowboys in a close one.
Yeah, there's not much to say about the Giants in this. And they're just trying to get through the season. So give me the Cowboys as they look to keep their really slim playoff hopes alive.
Tennessee at Arizona. There's some talk out here that this is going to be an upset. That's cute. I think the Titans are going to run for over 200 yards. I think Marcus Mariota is going to throw for 2 touchdowns. There is no Adrian Peterson. Their injury list in Arizona looks more like a mash unit. They lost more guys after the Ram game. I'm picking the Titans by 10 points over the Arizona Cardinals.
This game right here reminds me a lot of the Cardinals-Jaguar game played a couple of weeks ago. And, Adrian Peterson wasn't that effective in that game either. But Kerwin Williams had a big game last week with over 90 yards rushing. The Titans, you just never know which Marcus Mariota you're going to get. And I know that Henry and Murray are a good 1-2 punch. I'm taking Gabbert and the Cardinals over the Titans in an upset.
Wow. You need to explain yourself to the Titan fans out there, because right now they all stood up and gave a collective cuss at you and started throwing crap at the screen.
And that's okay. The Titans have been playing very close football the last few weeks, and some of those close games end up being in losses. Yes, they won by 11 last week, but it was a lot closer than 11 than what the final score indicated. And Tennessee is playing too close for comfort, and some of those games that you play, when you play football to, just barely get the first down, just barely get that field goal, just barely get that touchdown, and play not to lose, which I feel the Titans are doing a little bit right now because they're in a dogfight in the AFC South with the Jaguars. I think it's going to come back to bite them on the road this week.
All right. Well, from your my collective gasp with your pick, you're about to have one too. Jets at Broncos.
Oh, dude, seriously, come on.
I'm picking Denver. I'll tell you why.
Okay.
I'll tell you why. I think for me, it's about really 2 things. That stadium is really tough to play in. And even in Denver's bad years, it's a tough place to play. You're going from West Coast to East Coast, which is easier, or East Coast to West Coast, which is easier because you gain time, you don't lose time. But I haven't seen anything from the Jets defense the last few weeks to make me really think that they're capable of shutting down, a halfway decent to moderately effective quarterback. They're not getting that much pressure on the QB. I know they had a sack last week. I think they had 2. But, they're more like gnats. They're kind of around the area, but they're not really getting the quarterback down on the ground too much. And I just think that Denver's got, Simeon's back. I think he's better than any of the quarterbacks they have on the roster. I think there's going to be a much needed effort to run the football. It's an upset. There's no question about it. The Jets are capable of winning this game, but I'm gonna go with the stadium, and I'm gonna go with Trevor Siemian. I believe in him more than McCown. So I'm going Denver over Jets. I'm assuming you're not.
No, I'm taking the Jets. I think it's going to be closer to what Miami did to the Broncos. Listen, the Broncos are another dumpster fire right now in the NFL. They've lost 8 straight games. They started out the year 3-1. They were feeling good about themselves. Well, then the second and third quarter of the season came around, and they just can't get anything together. Simeon is not a good quarterback. Josh McCown is actually playing some of the best football of his career right now. He's got Robbie Anderson. Yes, he's going to be covered by Keith Talib most likely. But when you throw in Jeremy Curley and Jermaine Kearse, then throw in Austin Seferian-Jenkins and Eric Tomlinson, and then you have a 3-headed back, so Forte, Bilal Powell, and Elijah McGuire. Josh McCown has the makings of putting up big points in Denver this week. Vance Joseph is in his first-year head coach for the Broncos. His seat is getting warm. He loses this game against the Jets, his seat is warmer. And I feel that the Broncos, there's nothing that the Broncos have done that I've seen that shows that they're capable of getting out of this losing streak. Sure, it takes one game. Football's a week-to-week game. I get it. Okay? It's not like baseball to where you can come back and play every day. Mm-hmm. The Broncos, they're just looking to get that top 5 pick right now. And you know what? If the Broncos win, I'm all for it. They're tied with the Bears, who are also tied with the Colts. And we pick the Colts, you pick the Broncos. Hey, we get a top 5 pick. That's how I'm kind of looking at it. But I don't think the Broncos are good enough to win this game. If they do, they do. But I'm picking the Jets. I just like the way they've been playing football lately. They had a big comeback win. And yes, they were down 14 points in the first quarter, but came back and won that game against the Chiefs. And I just think they're going to keep the momentum going. They're the only New York team that people are cheering for right now.
Isn't that funny? Isn't that funny?
And I think that a lot of people thought the Jets were gonna be like the Browns. We're gonna be like the 49ers this year, but they surprised a lot of people, me included. Oh, yeah. So that's why I'm picking the Jets.
You got it. All right. Well, like I said, it's an upset, but I'm telling you, there's something about that stadium. All right, Redskins. Sorry, Redskins at Chargers. I'm going to go ahead and let you do the typical analysis, and then I'm going to come at this and approach it from a coach's standpoint. Go ahead.
This game is very interesting to me, and I will tell you why. Well, first, it's the Washington Redskins. We just don't know what kind of offense they're going to have. Some weeks they look tremendous, throwing the ball all over the place to Crowder and Dotson, and other weeks they look like Thursday night against the Cowboys last week, which they were utterly atrocious. They have a running back, but I don't know if I can put all my eggs in one basket with Pirine yet. On the other hand, the Chargers. Well, if you look at the Los Angeles Chargers, okay, and I almost said San Diego there, but I caught myself. And I'm excited for this game because I actually get this game out here, which I'm really excited to watch the Chargers and the Redskins. The Chargers, though, here's where they scare me. 4 losses in a row, 3 wins in a row, 2 losses in a row, 3 wins in a row. There's either going to be 1 or 2 teams sitting atop the AFC West. And the Chargers are at home. They've only been really blown out in 1 game this whole year, where they lost by more than double digits, and that was week 3 against the Chiefs. Every other game has been 3 or less, 1 game they lost by 8 in New England. So they're a very capable team of going out there and putting up points. Philip Rivers is playing some of the best football of his Charger career, both San Diego and now LA. And he's 35 years old. He's got a healthy Keenan Allen, who is just going berserk the last 3 games, and I went over his stats 1 or 2 shows ago. Hunter Henry's finally starting to get into the fold like he should have been all year, and they have a really good 2-headed running back competition going between Melvin Gordon and Aaron Eckley. I believe that's his name. Oh, I'm sorry, Austin Eckler. I always keep forgetting his name. My apologies. I sound like you, Anthony.
Yeah, nice.
This is
Shut
a game
up.
that scares me. This will scare me as a Charger fan because they haven't done the whole win one, lose one, win one, lose one. It's been 4, 3, 3, 2, 3 type of stuff where they've been winning, losing, losing, winning, losing, winning. To me, this is a trap game for them because they're at Arrowhead the following week. So I know they're looking ahead for the first place showdown with them and the Chiefs. But I am going with the Los Angeles Chargers in this game. I don't think that the Redskins have the capability to stop Rivers and what he's done on offense the last 3-4 weeks. And they're at home. They're playing in. I don't know how the weather is out there with all the wildfires going on. If it's going to be bad air quality or not, but I like them in the LA sunshine if it's going to be sunny.
Well, the Chargers season after this game is going to be a lot like the wildfires, up in smoke. Too soon? Maybe too soon. Sorry, LA fans. I had to go there. They're going to put Josh Norman on Keenan Allen. They're going to put Swearinger in the box to stop Gordon. They have a really good linebacker who is coming back this week. And the name right now is escaping me. They just picked him up. What is it? I'm looking at it right now. I'm sorry. Forgive me. I don't want to get yelled at by Eric again because he's a douche canoe.
Whatever.
Zach Brown. Zach Brown is supposed to be back this week. He's questionable game time decision, but he's been practicing like Ogletree. I think he is capable of sticking with the tight end at the moment. He's been able to cover tight ends all year long. He's actually been pretty good at that role. That neutralizes the Chargers' offense. And I think, you look at the fact that the Redskins have beaten the Seahawks in Seattle, the Rams in LA. Going to San Diego isn't going to be a challenge.
Because they're not going to San Diego.
Yes, they are. It's the San Diego Chargers. I'm not talking about this anymore. Okay? Just go with it because that's who they're going to be next year when they leave LA and realize this was a faulty system. But either way, the Chargers have impressed. There's no question about it. And can the Chargers win this game? Yeah. But I want to know what the Chargers can do when Keenan Allen is locked down and they've got 8 in the box to stop Gordon, and when they've got a linebacker that's capable of covering their tight ends. It's going to have to be the Bosa and the defense's show to kind of run, which they're capable of doing. You can get pressure on Kirk Cousins. Look, this game is going to be won by San Diego because of the defense. Either that or the Redskins are going to win this game. And when I look at the Redskins' resume, I'm impressed with what they do on the road. I'm picking the Redskins. Yeah, it's an upset, but the Chargers have been hot and cold. That's not exactly a home field advantage where they're playing. And the Redskins are one of those teams everyone overlooks religiously and go, oh, the Redskins, they're garbage. And then they play well and you're like, oh, wow, the Redskins actually played really well. Or, oh, holy crap, the Redskins won. It's like everybody ignores what they see on the screen. And this is a talented football team that's getting healthy. It's a bit too late to do the right thing now. And I don't think that the Redskins will do any better than 8-8 this year. But I do think they're going to pick up this win. I'm going with them because I think they're going to lock down Keenan Allen. And I haven't seen anything from the Chargers all year long when that part of their offense gets stopped, them taking it to the next guy. We'll see. But I would be surprised. Seattle at Jacksonville. So let me just start with this. I think Jacksonville at home is a tough team to beat. My phone was going crazy. Sorry. I think that Seattle is beat up. I think the biggest problem the Seahawks have is their linebackers are not their linebackers. Their defensive line is really good at getting pressure on the quarterback, but I want to know what they can do against a really strong, powerful running back with an offensive line that was made to run the ball. The Rams right now are trying to get to that point. They're trying to be a balanced offensive line. The Jags aren't trying to be balanced. Their linemen buckle up their helmet a little tighter. They get down in their three-point stance, and they're mowing the lawn, and it's time to go to work. And I want to know what the Seahawks can do against that because this is going to be a good test for them. Because I believe they play, they get the Rams next week at home, and then they go to Dallas to play Ezekiel Elliott. So it'll be real interesting to see how they manage this game. Now, when I look at this, I'm only looking at one thing. I'm looking at Jacksonville's defense, especially the front seven against the Seahawks. I don't think Russell Wilson is going to be able to run for his life like he has the last few weeks and make something happen because I think the Jaguars are going to come in with a plan and shut the door in his face. I'm picking the Jaguars to win this game. I think it'll be close, but I think ultimately the deciding factor is going to be the fact that Russell Wilson will not be able to run around and make the big play. The Jaguars will have an answer for that this week.
Yeah, I think this is the second big test for Jacksonville outside of any division game. They went into Pittsburgh. They basically annihilated them through defense and running the football. And I think you're going to see a little bit more of them running the football and taking the ball out of Bortles' hands. But don't be surprised if Bortles has another 250, 300-yard game against the Seahawks because you can throw on their pass defense.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be close. Jacksonville wins this game, and there could be some separation in the NFC West. We'll see.
Interesting. All right, Baltimore at Pittsburgh. I'm going to skip the Rams for right now. Baltimore at Pittsburgh. I got the Ravens. Pittsburgh, they're barely beating teams they should be blowing out. And the Ravens are just, they're the steady Eddie in the division. It's almost like the cat and the hare, you know? The hare and the turtle. The Steelers ran out of the gates the first 8 weeks of the season, and the Ravens kind of stumbled and bumbled. And now we're kind of getting to the end of the year, and yeah, it looks like the Steelers are going to win the division. But here come the Ravens in that wild card spot, and I promise you, the Steelers don't want to play Baltimore in the postseason. I'm going to go with an upset here. Again, it's been my theme all week. I think Baltimore, look, if Jacksonville can go in that place and light them up with that defense, Baltimore can go in with their defense and do the same thing. And I know what you're going to say. It's a different team now than they were then. But you know what? The Green Bay Packers lost by 3. And it took a gargantuan field goal by their kicker of 57 yards in that stadium to beat them. So forgive me for not being sold on a Pittsburgh Steelers team that's banged up, no Shazier. Juju Smith is suspended. They haven't looked right all year long. I think you'll agree with that. But I will tell you, if the Steelers do win this game, I will start to take them a little more seriously. And I don't care if they win by 1 or if they win by 11. But I don't think they're going to win. I'm picking Baltimore over Pittsburgh.
Yeah, the Ravens are very capable of winning this game. Throw out all division records, throw out past head-to-head games between these two teams. I think you're going to see a big offensive showdown. I think defense is going to be optional in this game. Here's why. The Ravens have found their offense as far as they can. Alex Collins may or may not have room. I know I'm going like 50-50 on that one, but some teams have been able to run on the Steelers. Some teams haven't been able to run on the Steelers. Howard tore them up, but other teams like Joe Mixon and Cincy really couldn't get the ground game going, and that goes for both games that they played.
Yeah.
And I think you're going to see big games out of Macklin and Wallace, just big games out of Flacco, period. He's going to be throwing the ball all over the place. That's why you're going to see a lot of Danny Woodhead in this game. I think he's going to be a key contributor for the Ravens on offense. but the Steelers have Le'Veon Bell and Antonio Brown. And I think with Juju Smith out, that's going to spell a lot of targets going Jesse James' way. You're going to see him with a big game. You're going to see a lot of dump-off passes and screen passes to Le'Veon Bell. Why? Because they're going to let Suggs go in and get close to Roethlisberger. I'll screen pass over his head. Le'Veon Bell 30-yard game. It's going to be close. Steelers pull it out at home. This game were in Baltimore, I'd seen a different team right now, but you can't go past what the Steelers have been able to accomplish so far this year. Yes, they lost one bad game. They've had some turmoil, but it seems that they're over it. They're headed in the right direction. The loss of Ryan Shazier is going to be huge for them. He actually ended up having spinal surgery this past week to repair the fractures in his back that he had. That they didn't think he would need, but he was airlifted from Cincinnati to Pittsburgh, and that's where he had the surgery. So don't think that that's not going to have an effect on them, but the Steelers will find a way to get the job done.
All right. Well, we will see. The Monday night game. Patriots 38, Dolphins 10. That's my score. I don't think Miami has a shot in Hades to win this game. The Dolphins are exactly what everyone, except for me apparently, thought they were going to be going into this year. They're just not good, and they're not getting better. And when you trade your best player because you don't like him, you're an idiot. This is the NFL. Somebody's going to take him, and they're going to utilize him. And we'll see if that Ajayi trade benefits the Eagles in the long run. But I look at this game, and I don't know how anyone picks the Dolphins. I don't know how anyone picks a score that's not a blowout. Maybe 31-10, 45-10, but I'm going 38-10. The Dolphins don't have an answer for the Patriots offense with or without Gronkowski. They don't have an answer for the running game. They don't have an answer on defense for their pass rush, meaning the Patriots, and they don't have an answer for the Patriots secondary. I'm trying to make stuff up here. There's nothing else to say.
No, I know. It's hard when you're the Patriots and then everybody else, and you go down to Miami when it's nice weather. Gronk has a week off. He'll be sipping Mai Tais on South Beach. Listen, I've heard rumors that the NFL only suspended Gronk one game for his actions because of the following week matchup that the Patriots are playing. Now, if that's true or not, I don't know. But I guess it wouldn't surprise me one bit how the NFL decides to suspend guys.
Yeah.
That's why Schuster Smith got one game as well, because there's a big game on the docket for the following week. Anyways, I'm going to go 41-17 Patriots. I think the Dolphins can move the ball. Obviously, you're going to see vintage Jay Cutler throwing a couple of picks. But I think you're going to see a rejuvenated Kenyon Drake, and he's going to get the Dolphins into the red zone a few times. Big games out of Jarvis Landry, like always. Maybe a Julius Thomas touchdown. Seems to be Cutler's go-to guy in the red zone if it's not Landry. Devontae Parker is, who knows whether he should be on a milk hunt right now, because he is a good wide receiver they're just not utilizing.
Yeah.
But it's going to be a long, long day for the Miami Dolphins.
You said it. All right, so now we're going to switch gears a little bit here, and we are going to talk about the Ram-Eagle game. So I haven't heard anything about the weather affecting this entirely yet. So not the weather, but the fires. It looks like the game's going to be a go. Air quality could be difficult. I don't know. Like everything I've heard so far, like the wildfires haven't reached the players' homes, so there's not that distraction per se, like there was with Houston and in Miami, with the Hurricanes. I look at this game and I smile because I know there's very few times in life I'm this certain about the Rams. And I'm very certain about this game. The Rams' defensive line is better than the Seahawks' defensive line. Period. Period. They were able to put pressure on Carson Wentz. The Rams linebackers, and yes, Alec Ogletree looks like he's going to be a go. Barron is definitely a go. So their linebackers are back. They escaped that injury situation. Are definitely as good right now. I'm not going to say they're better because of their track record. They're as good as the Seahawks linebackers. But with Sherman and Cam Chancellor out, I think the Rams secondary is better. John Johnson is the best safety to put on a Ram uniform in a long since Nolan Cromwell. Maybe even, Keith Lyle. He's playing phenomenal as a rookie. LaMarcus Joyner, moving him from DB to safety, I applaud Wade Phillips. It completely changed the back end of that defense. The Rams are no longer missing TJ McDonald. They have the two youngest and I think best safety tandems in football right now, as of right now. When Cam Chancellor's back, that changes. Now look at their corners. Tremaine Johnson is definitely better than the guy that backs up Richard Sherman. He's not better than Richard Sherman. And then you look at the other corner, and there's a lot of guys that they put out there in that nickel spot that they'll kind of rotate in there, whether it's Nickel Roby Coleman, whether it's, a plethora of people. I think the Rams secondary is right now better than the Seahawks secondary. And when I see what the Seahawks did at home against the Eagles with their defense, I smile. And then I look at the offense. The Rams have an answer for Fletcher Cox. And that answer is Sullivan. You get to watch this game, Eric, or is this not on TV out there?
Both LA teams are out here tomorrow afternoon.
Nice. I want you to watch Sullivan, the Rams center, blocking that interior defensive line. He sets those guys up in position to succeed. Now, I'm not saying that the Eagles defense won't get pressure on Goff. I think they're going to sack him 3 times tomorrow, okay, and probably hurry him a couple more. But by and large, he's going to have time in the pocket like he always does. I think the Rams are going to utilize the running game. I mean, I saw the Seahawks go off on that defense, and I'm thinking to myself, really? They had that much success running the ball? What are the Rams going to do with Todd Gurley? How do you stop it? Are you going to put 8 guys in the box and let Goff tear you up continuously? No, this is the Goff versus Wentz Bowl. The last thing Peterson's going to do, the head coach of the Eagles, is let Goff outshine his guy Carson Wentz. So I think they're going to go with a 7-man box and say, okay, Gurley, prove it. Which I think would be stupid, but I think it's what they're going to do. And I look at this, and I've said this before. Since the bye week, Goff has gone off. Watkins has gone off. But I think this is going to be, I think Todd Gurley is going to have 200+ yards of total offense. He's going to have over 125 yards rushing and 2 touchdowns. He's going to have 80+ yards receiving and another touchdown. And I think it's going to be the Todd Gurley show. And then you have the X factor. You look at that. You look at the special teams play, and the Rams have been outperforming Philadelphia all year in that department. Nobody in the NFL has blocked more kicks. Nobody in the NFL has had more big plays on special teams. And no one in the NFL has covered punts and covered kick returns all year long better than the Los Angeles Rams. They have 3 cogs in that machine that work really, really well. The Eagles have to show that they can bounce back. The Rams have already shown they can. I'm going with the Rams in this game. I think it's going to be a good football game, but I think it's going to be a 31-34-17 game. I can't believe I'm saying it, but I think the Rams are going to double them up. And I think it's going to be because the Rams are going to be running the ball, and they're just gonna find lanes. And the one thing I will say about McVay is he goes with what works. So I think it's going to be a close game at halftime, and then as typical of what's happened with the Rams this year, I think you're going to see them pull away in the second half. I think Wentz will make it. So I think it's going to be like 17-10 at halftime, and I think the Rams might make it like 31-10, and then they're going to make it 31-17, and then the Rams will kick a field goal, something to that effect. I don't know, but yeah, I think it's going to be a fun game, but I'm confident the Rams are going to win this one. Who are you picking, E?
You know, for me, I believe the Rams watched a lot of game tape from the Seattle-Philadelphia game. They were able to pick out key components of how you're able to beat the Philadelphia Eagles. The Eagles exposed a little bit of themselves, okay? Wentz wasn't himself, okay? I'm not saying he was fighting injury or he had a cold or flu or anything like that. That's not what I'm saying. What I am saying is that Wentz just didn't have a good game. He was off his game, and the reason why I say that is because not because of the fumble against the Seahawks, but the overthrow of Aguilar, which he could have most likely walked into the end zone after he caught that, which could have really turned the game around if you ask me. Because again, Seattle's secondary isn't the greatest right now. You got Earl Thomas back there, but you got really nobody else. You don't have any of the big names, is what I should say. But you're able to run on the Steelers, as Mike Davis proved. You're able to run on the Rams. Okay, so I do expect Ajayi or Blunt to have a big game running. However, this is Carson Wentz at Jared Goff. Picks 1 and 2 in the draft last year. They're going to put on a show. Both quarterbacks will be over 300 yards. I give the slight edge to Philadelphia and their wide receivers. Zach Ertz practiced in limited fashion. I understand he's questionable for this game. They haven't ruled him like that he was playing or that he's out yet. But that could be a huge void down the middle of the field for Carson Wentz, because that's where the Seahawks beat them, is that Wentz didn't have his security blanket, which could be huge in this game. Robert Woods is questionable for the Rams. I think he's running more 51% to 49% starting and playing in the game. That would be huge, because that's the way they could take a lot of the focus off with Sammy Watkins. But expect Cooper Kupp to put up over 100 yards. That's the difference right there. Wentz throws for 3 touchdown passes. Goff throws for 4. Rams pull it out by a touchdown. I'm not saying it's going to be 28-21. Not what I'm saying. But you're going to see a couple of field goals for both teams. And don't be surprised to see a 50-55-yarder from Greg the Leg or Gregatron or whatever the heck you all like to call him.
Legatron.
Rams by a touchdown.
All right. Well, I will say this too. I'm going to say this now so it's on record. I think John Johnson has an interception in this game. And it could be the deciding interception. So whether that's going to be it's 31-17, the Rams punt, the Eagles are driving, and he gets the interception that seals it, or which would have made it a one-score game, or it is 31-24 and the Eagles are driving and he gets the interception, but he's going to have some kind of a game-changing INT in this game. I just know it. He's been playing so well in the secondary, and I don't think the Eagles are ready for it. I really don't think Philadelphia is ready for it. And I think part of that's arrogance too, because the Eagles know what people are saying about them, and they know what people are saying about Seattle and what people are saying about Minnesota, New Orleans. They also know what people aren't saying about the Rams. And I think Philadelphia is going to say Goff will not beat Wentz, period. And the Rams are going to be like, okay, well, Gurley's going to beat you, and then Goff's going to get the W because of it. So you say he's going to have over 300 yards and 4 touchdowns. I think Goff might be closer to 285, 2 touchdowns, maybe. Well, I'll say 3. I'll say 3 touchdowns. But I don't think he throws an interception, and I do think Wentz does. I do think Wentz throws for over 300 yards, and I do think he throws for 3 touchdowns, but I think he throws a pick in there. and I think that's going to be a big deal. So we'll see. We didn't disagree. Well, we disagreed a lot this week, but that's why we do our show the way we do it. Look, reviews tend to be shorter, but you know what, Eric? I like what we do. And I had a fan comment, you need to stop apologizing. Shimoni, was it Shimoni D? I heard you, and I agree with you. Look, this is what we do. So if you want a shorter show, go watch someone else. Me and Eric give you real analysis, and it's detailed. And we approach it from a coach's standpoint, that's me. From a reporter standpoint or somebody who went into broadcasting, that's E. And we give you the best that we possibly can give. And by doing so, it takes time because we want to make sure that we explain ourselves completely, that we're not pulling a Heath Evans and we're just out there going, the Saints are going to win because I like the Saints uniform. They're pretty colors and it's wonderful and I'm a pro analysis and like me because I used to play football. We don't do that. We actually come in and go, no, here's why this is the case, right? Eric's not Rich Eisen. He doesn't just sit there and try to make jokes and pretend like he knows what he's talking about and go, I like the Jets. Da-da-da. No, he actually knows football, and he goes into detail, and he gives us those little nuggets that he pulls out of his derriere, and it makes the show better. So spread the word, get more people to watch, get them off of the network, get them off of ESPN, get them on LA Rams Central, and let's build this show up to be a real true pregame. And I will do a better job of getting it on before the pregame. My wife's actually taking the computer tonight and showing me how to condense it so I can upload it faster. Because then when you condense it but you upload it, once it's uploaded, it's the full file. This is like Swahili to me. I don't understand any of this or how that's even possible. It's kind of like a slinky, right? It's out, it's stretched. But then I guess when you upload it, you can shrink it. And then once it's uploaded, it's the full slinky. I don't know. That's the best analogy I can give. I know nothing about this stuff. It's funny because I have people out there going, Anthony, why don't you get a mic? Why don't you get this? I'd love to. I don't have the money. And to be honest with you, I wouldn't know how to set it up. I'm that dumb when it comes to computers. But I know football, and so does he. And I am working on making this show better. That's my New Year's resolution 2017 is to get some stuff to improve the quality here. But I think it's still pretty good quality nonetheless. So we hope you guys enjoyed it. Eric, is there anything you want to end with?
Yes. Two things, actually. Don't go watch somebody else because we don't want to lose subscriptions. There, I said it. Okay? I don't want to lose any of our listeners because I think we can all put something into this show for everybody. We've talked about not going political on this show as far as what goes on in the NFL. But we did once. I thought it was something that we needed to talk about. And Anthony relented and agreed because we talked about it a lot off air. So we try to keep this for you guys. That's why we do this. Second, Anthony, I need your pick. Who's winning the Heisman tonight? For the Heisman Trophy in college football.
Baker Mayfield.
Lamar Jackson, Bryce Love, or Baker Mayfield?
Baker Mayfield.
Yeah, I think it's a runaway.
Baker Mayfield. Now, you ready for this? My tentative pick at the moment for the BCS championship is going to be Alabama over. So I'm picking them to win the championship over Georgia.
Over Georgia?
Alabama over Georgia. I think it's going to be an all SEC national championship game again.
Let's go Tigers versus Bulldogs.
I'm sorry. Is Deshaun Watson quarterback over there?
No, but Clemson still is like 10-2 or something.
Yeah, well.
And they have a really good defense.
You know what? Look, I want to say something on this.
I mean, he will be there. I guarantee you that if Clemson does get there, he will be there.
Oh, there's no question, but he just won't be playing. Look, as an Alabama and Notre Dame fan, there's 4 colleges that I watch, actually 5, that I follow religiously. Alabama's, Notre Dame, those 2 are tied. If they were to ever play each other, Eric will tell you I'm a conflicted man. And I usually
they already have the championship game.
Right. And usually I root for both, and then I go talk to my Catholic priest and beg for forgiveness and do my Hail Marys for doing so. But I also like ASU because I graduated from Arizona State, so I follow them a little bit. And then obviously there's Maine, the Black Bears, because I was born there, so I've always kind of followed the University of Maine. But the other team that I follow is Navy. I've always liked Navy. I like the triple option, and they're a good example for other high schools out there that have undersized kids on how you can create an offensive system that will allow for your kids to compete and have fun and actually win a lot of football games, even though they're undermanned in many cases. And that's what the option offense does for people. And it's always great to see the academies do well. Army Navy played. Eric just told me I didn't get a chance to watch it today because I was helping a friend out who was sick. But he told me that my Navy lost for the second year in a row to Army. So kudos to the Army Black Knights. But we'll get them next year. We won like 18 in a row. They should get a couple just to make it fair.
Yeah. Navy did win 14 in a row, actually. Army won back-to-back. It was funny because they were playing in Philadelphia. And if you've listened to any of the weather the last day or two, there's a big northeast snowstorm going on up there. So Navy came out first, and they were wearing blue uniforms as a tribute to the Blue Angels. And, of course, Lincoln Financial Field, all full of snow. What does Army come out in? They come out in white. I'm like, you can't even see these guys.
That's awesome. Maybe that was part of the plan. So, anyway, so great football. I love the Army-Navy game. I wish I watched it. I'm kind of bummed I didn't. Hopefully somebody uploads that and I can actually burn it and watch it. Anyway, we're going to focus more on college football here once the new year hits. I think we're going to do a pre-year show to kind of cover what we think is going to happen and go over the top 25 and stuff like that. So you can look for that. Be under a different name. It won't be LA Rams Central, obviously. But anyway, we hope you guys enjoyed it. We love you. Keep subscribing. Thank you for all my new subscribers. Thank you for all of those that watch religiously and comment. And feel free to continue to comment. And big week for the Rams this week. I can't wait to watch the W. We're going to get win number 10. I'm calling it. Go Rams!